Do you struggle with anxiety, and do you want to cope and find out different ways of how you can cope with anxiety? And the reason you clicked on this video probably answers that question. So yes, it was a rhetorical question. In this video, I'm going to be showing you exactly 4 different ways how you can cope with anxiety if it holds you back in your life. And these are 4 different, completely different, that you can use all together if you want, in order to reduce your anxiety to a bare minimum so that you can get through every single day life or daily life, so that you can live your best life, so that you can diminish all anxiety or the majority of your anxiety over a short period of time. Welcome back to another video. I'm Maximilian and I help entrepreneurs reprogram their life, rewire their minds for happiness, success, abundance, fulfillment, confidence, you name it, I do it. Before we get started, hit that subscribe button and that bell icon so that you get notified whenever I post. But let's find out how you can cope with anxiety. So, first things first, we need to understand anxiety and what it actually is. Now, anxiety really is the fear of something happening in the future. And it's like they say, if you live in the past too much, you're going to cause yourself depression. If you live in the future too much, you're going to cause yourself anxiety. And necessarily the future of fear. And that's what anxiety really is. It's just a fear of something that hasn't actually happened yet. Now, it may happen, it may not happen. But anxiety is the thing that is really holding us down and tying us to that chair when we want to get up from that. Before we actually get into the techniques, and remember to stay to the end because the 4th technique is the most powerful technique that you will use, and I guarantee you this will completely change your life. But before we get there, I want you to understand this about fear. We need fear. If a tiger's chasing me, I'm fearful. I'm not going to fight that tiger. I am running. If I'm in the sea and there's a shark, I don't care if sharks are not actually as vicious as they're made out to be. I'm still not staying in there, and I'm going to be scared for good reason. Unless I've got the necessary safety precautions, like I'm in a cage or whatever, and the shark's like been fed, they know that it's been fed or whatever, I'm going to take the necessary safety precautions before I allow myself to get anywhere near it, because what's the point? I'm not going to jump off a building because I know the fear in me says if I do that, I'm going to die. And I don't want to do that. So the reason we have the anxiety, the fear, it saves us in some ways. And it stops us from doing things that could potentially be actually harmful, like really harmful. For example, a tiger chasing you, crossing the road. It makes sense to look both ways. It doesn't make sense to walk out blindly and get hit by a car. It just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But the anxiety that's overwhelming and isn't going to put us in actual danger is the one that will stop us and will tie us to that chair. It will hold us down, like we can't get up, like we do not have the ability to get up, because it's just there. It's overwhelming, it's constant, it's in our head, it's here, it's there, it just becomes too much, and it literally is all in your face at once. For example, speaking up in a meeting isn't actually going to cause you any danger. Going out to a party, going out to see friends isn't actually going to cause you any danger, unless your friends love getting into gunfights, I don't know. And if you're friends with those type of people, then maybe we should talk about that as well. Because when it actually interferes with our daily life, that's when we start to lose bits of ourselves. We become more overwhelmed. We become just in that state of just flight all the time. We don't want to do anything. We just are scared. We just are fearful, which causes more anxiety. And it literally is a spiraling down process that causes more and more and more anxiety through our life. So this is your disclaimer, and I want you to know this. I want you to write this down if you have to. Write it in the comments, write it in your phone, write it on a bit of paper, put it on a post-it note. If you do not address your anxiety, it will get worse. We can't just brush it under the rug and think about it later, because it will continue and eventually it will explode. It will explode with pain, it will explode with fear, it will explode with something that will hold us back long term, and I know you don't want to do that. Hence why you're watching this video. You're finding ways to cope with the anxiety. You're finding ways to dim down the fear, the anxiety, the feeling of what it feels like. And also, if you do want any help with anxiety, this is something that I do work with when I work with my clients, and I work with specifically hypnotherapy in order to release anxiety. I've done it with myself, and I've done it with many other clients to help them go from fearful and anxious to a much more confident person. And if you do want that, head over to my website, www.maxhindle.com, or send me a message on Instagram so that we can get you scheduled in, so that we can really and fully and truly eliminate as much of that anxiety as possible in a short period of time. So, method number 1, how to stop or how to cope with any of that anxiety that appears. You may have heard of the thing called journaling. Now, the reason journaling works so well is because you're getting those thoughts from here out onto paper. You are literally picking them out and putting them on paper. And I recommend writing it down. It's a bit more therapeutic than typing it out. But if you don't have the ability to write it down, then just type it out. Just do whatever's easiest and feasible for you right now. But the reason it works so well, as I said, you're pulling them out. You're also able to categorize what makes you feel most anxious, what makes you feel least anxious, so that you can have the awareness of what causes and what triggers the anxiety. Now, the reason a bullet is shot from a gun is because you pull a trigger. Pull that trigger, bang, that gun shoots the bullet. Pull that anxiety trigger and it will trigger anxiety. And that's exactly what it does. So when we are aware of what triggers our anxiety, we can either, now this is one of two things you can do. You can either avoid it. Now, this is being logical and saying, do I actually need to do this thing? For example, do I need to clean my house? If, let's say, that would trigger anxiety. Do I need to actually clean my house often? Yes. How can we deal with this so that this doesn't cause us anxiety? Maybe we do a room a day, maybe we do something else, maybe we just do the hoovering on Sundays, whatever it is, and you strategize and categorize everything so that you can make it much easier and simpler for your mind to comprehend. Coping mechanism number 2. This is what I call the VOOV method. And if you haven't watched my video on the VOOV method, this is a method that I use with my clients. Click this video up here. And the VOOV method gets you to understand the power of the awareness. So this is where journaling and the VOOV method work hand in hand. Once you have awareness, awareness is everything. When you have that awareness of what is causing the anxiety, we can go from that victim role and we can move on to the victor role. And obviously we go from overthink, observe, to then an outcome which causes us to be the victor within that scenario. Now, the more we win these little scenarios, the more we become the victor versus the victim, the more we will be able to reduce that anxiety, because we're going from woe is me to I conquered my anxiety today. I conquered that fear today. And also, on a side note, what I just said was completely incorrect. It is not your anxiety. It never was yours, never is yours, never will be yours. It is anxiety that is controlling you. Once you control it, it's no longer yours. It's yours to do with whatever you want to do with it. Strategy number 3, box breathing. Any type of breathing in general is going to help with anxiety, but box breathing specifically is going to help. If you want me to make a video of a box breathing guided process, comment down below and let me know so that I can do that for you. But box breathing is very simple. Now, it's just whatever number you choose, let's say is 5. So the reason it's called box breathing is it's like you're making a box. That's the visual representation of it. So this is how it works. You breathe in for 5, hold for 5, out for 5, hold for 5. And you can choose the number. The better your respiratory system gets, the higher number you can go. The higher it goes, for me, reduces makes my calm levels increase, let's say. It reduces all stress and worry and stuff like that. But essentially what you're doing is in for 5, hold for 5, out for 5, hold for 5, again choosing number whichever you want to choose. Now the 4th and final method, which has been the most powerful in my life specifically, other than the VOOV method. Now the VOOV method, again, go watch that video if you want to understand it in much deeper detail. But the 4th and final method is called modeling. And modeling is a very, very simple process. Stop this video right now, press pause. Now, I want you to think about this, or you can watch it and just allow yourself to think while you're listening. Who is the most confident person that you know? It could be a friend, it could be a celebrity, it could be a coach, a mentor, a teacher, it could be a parent, it could be a sibling, whoever it is. Who is the most confident person that you believe to be the most confident person right now? Now, what I want you to do is I want you to have conversations with them in your head. This has worked wonders for me, specifically with my confidence. I used to be such a shy and anxious person. So shy and so anxious. Speaking on camera, whoa, no, never gonna happen. But when I used to ask myself and I used to model other people, whenever I would get in a situation where I felt fearful, I felt anxious, I felt worried, I would always ask, how would Tony Robbins, because he was the person that really helped me shift my life, how would he act in this scenario? How would he be standing? How would he be walking? How would he be talking? How would he be thinking? What would he be saying to himself? And that's what allowed me to fish myself out of the victim role, again, going back to the VOOV method, and go and watch that video, fishing myself out of the victim role and standing in the victor role. That of Tony Robbins. How would he act? Because when we ask a better question, we get a better answer. And the better answer I was getting was, I'm not confident enough to do that. I'm not going to be able to do that. I can't do that. I can't do this. Tony Robbins would say, well, how can I do this? What do I need to do in order to do this? Let me just go at it and then let's face the consequences if anything happens, because something may not even happen and I may just be overthinking it. And that's what allowed me to become a much more confident person, because I just modeled what worked. It worked for him, so why can't it work for me? And it did work for me. So maybe you're asking yourself, how would I act in these scenarios? And go for it. I mean, by all means, there's no copyright laws against me. But use someone who you believe is to be very confident. It can be anyone in the world. It could be a professional athlete, it could be a teacher, it could just be a friend. Use these 4 methods and allow these to help you cope and reduce your the anxiety, not your anxiety, because it is not yours. So other than that, I hope this video has given you some information, some inspiration to help you cope with your anxiety, help you change your life, to release the old and step into the new. Again, remember to watch that VOOV video so that you understand how it works. And don't forget to model people. That's important. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell icon so that you get notified whenever I post. But other than that, have an amazing day. Keep spreading love, kindness, and so much positivity. Positivity. Positivity.